Hello, my dear masterminds. They thought your silence was absolute, a vault welded shut. Then you let one line fall soft as dust, sharp as a needle. Not a confession, not a threat, just enough for a smart ear to wonder what you're not saying. It drifted across the table like smoke, slipped through teeth that swore loyalty, found the cracks pride pretends don't exist. You didn't chase it. You watched it travel. Within minutes, wrists tightened on glasses, glances stuck to corners, and smiles learned how to tremble. That single syllable redrew the map. Friend or witness, ally or liability. Their shared story began to cough, then choke. You could hear the machinery of doubt switch on quiet gears, ruthless blades, no alarms, just the sound of a room remembering it has exits. They thought you leaked a secret. You handed them a mirror, and the mirror started to bite. A chair scraped no anger, calculation, who speaks next, who last, who isn't invited back. The room split into islands. You breathed in time and let gravity do the rest. Paranoia is a patient sculptor. It starts with trust, then habit, then names all. You didn't need to sharpen your words. The pause after them was the blade. It sliced through their rehearsed unity, peeling back the skin of their alliance to show the rot underneath. Someone shifted in their chair too quickly. Someone else pretended to check their phone, avoiding every set of eyes. The air grew thick, heavy with unspoken accusations, like storm clouds gathering with no sky to escape to. They weren't hearing your voice anymore. They were hearing their own fears. Fears they thought they'd buried beneath handshakes and hollow toasts. You leaned back, letting the silence breed suspicion like mold in a locked cellar. The beauty of it, you never named a name, never pointed a finger. They would do that for you, each wordless glance another nail in the coffin of their fragile alliance. In the corner, a whisper sparked like a match. Across the table, someone caught it, misheard it, twisted it into something far deadlier. It was all in motion now, self-fueled, self-destructive. You just sat there, smiling like someone listening to rain tap on a window they'll never open. The tension slithered across the room like a snake no one wanted to name. Eyes darted, measuring loyalties, weighing betrayals that hadn't even happened yet. That's the trick once doubt takes root. It feeds. It doesn't wait for facts. It feeds on imagination. And theirs? Oh, it was ravenous. You could almost hear the cracks forming in their unity, like ice under a hunter's foot. Someone shifted their chair back an inch, signaling mistrust without a word. Another leaned forward, voice trembling under a mask of calm, fishing for confessions in casual conversation. But every answer became an accusation in disguise. You didn't have to speak again. You'd turned the lights off in their minds. Now they were stumbling, groping in the dark, convinced they felt knives in every handshake. This wasn't chaos you forced. It was chaos you allowed. And in that subtle permission, you became something more dangerous than their enemy. You became the voice in their heads they could never silence. It starts with whispers too quiet for the untrained ear. But you hear everything. The tap of a restless finger on the table. The pause before a name is spoken. The way a smile collapses when they think no one's looking. That's when you know the infection has spread. They don't see you anymore. They see each other as suspects. Every shared glance becomes a coded threat. Every silence a confession. And you? You sit in the center like the calm in a storm, letting their paranoia chew through every tie they've built. They'll call it differences or misunderstandings. But you know better, this is rot, and rot never stops halfway. By the time they realize what's happening, it won't be an alliance anymore. It'll be a minefield, each step an explosion they set off themselves. The brilliance is, you never raised your voice, never pointed a finger. You just placed a single truth like a shard of glass where their trust had to walk barefoot. Now, every conversation feels like a chess match, where both players hide knives under the board. Old alliances they swore were unshakable, now riddled with suspicion. Private deals they thought secret, suddenly questioned in the open. And you lean back, watching their once perfect harmony twist into an orchestra of hesitation and side-eyed glances. It's not chaos you create, it's the possibility of chaos. That's far more dangerous, because people can defend against attacks. But how do you defend against your own mind turning on you? When their unity crumbles, they'll search for the cause, but the answer will be gone smiling, unseen. Fear doesn't always arrive as thunder. Sometimes it drips slow, steady, inevitable until it floods the mind. That's what you gave them, a drip, a seed. Just enough to make them question the hand they've been shaking for years. In every locked door meeting, their eyes dart like predators in the same cage. Every pause in speech feels like a confession. Every word sounds like a trap. They replay what you said, over and over, searching for meaning, finding only shadows. The beauty is, you didn't lie, you didn't accuse, you simply let it slip. And that's the kind of truth that burns without flame, because the fire isn't in your words, it's in the way they wonder if you know more. That wondering, that's the matchstick. The rest, they'll light themselves. Now the whispers have teeth. What began as uneasy glances has evolved into quiet conversations in dark corners. Voices drop to a hiss, eyes scanning for eavesdroppers. One by one, their trust rots. Deals once sealed with a nod now demand signatures, witnesses, proof. They think they're hunting for truth, but they're feeding the paranoia you planted. Every piece of gossip mutates into evidence. Every innocent question becomes an interrogation. And you don't lift a finger. You sit back, watching the invisible cracks widen, each spider webbing through their alliance like glass under pressure. You know it's only a matter of time before the weight of their own doubt shatters everything they built. It's beautiful, in a twisted way, how easily loyalty crumbles when fear enters the room. They were once bound by oaths, united against you, convinced their strength was in numbers. But fear is the acid that eats through chains, and you poured it into their veins with a single, deliberate leak. Now every alliance meeting is a silent war. Smiles are daggers, handshakes are traps. Every conversation mined with hidden barbs. The smartest among them have withdrawn, thinking distance will keep them safe. But distance breeds suspicion too. Why aren't they speaking to us? What do they know? You gave them nothing more than a shadow, yet they're clawing at each other as if it's a weapon in your hands. You don't need to attack their fortress soon, they'll burn it down from the inside. The irony? They think you're still outside their gates, pacing in the dark, but you're already inside, rent-free in their minds. In their meetings, their whispered doubts. Every time one hesitates before speaking, that's you. Every time their eyes dart to check if someone's listening, that's you. You're not just the threat, you're the ghost in their decision-making. And ghosts don't get caught. Their alliance was built on trust. But trust is fragile glass once it cracks. It can never be whole again. You just tapped it once, lightly, and now the fractures spread on their own. They'll accuse, they'll betray, they'll run. And when the dust settles, there will be no alliance. Only survivors wondering if they were ever truly allies at all. Now, every word spoken in their circle feels like a trap. They replay old conversations, hunting for signs they missed. A casual laugh becomes suspicious. A friendly nod turns into a calculated move. You didn't just plant a seed. You gave them a mirror. And in it, they see enemies wearing familiar faces. The beauty of it? You don't have to lift a finger anymore. They'll dismantle their own foundation with precision, thinking they're defending it. Meetings become interrogations. Plans dissolve mid-sentence. And somewhere in the chaos, each begins to suspect. Maybe you were never the real danger. Maybe it was the people beside them the whole time, but it's too late. Once doubt has a seat at the table, loyalty has left the room. It starts subtly. One leader delays signing the next agreement, claiming they need more time. Another pulls back resources, just in case. Soon the silence between them becomes heavier than any argument. You don't speak, you don't interfere. You watch as paranoia spreads, like smoke under a locked door. The stronger ones try to hold it together, but their hands shake when they think no one's looking. The weaker ones, they've already begun whispering in corners, trading names and suspicions like currency. Every whispered theory points to one conclusion. The alliance was never solid. It was a house of glass. And all you did was point out the first crack. Now, each of them is swinging the hammer. The air between them is no longer trust. It's static, sharp, ready to spark. Every glance is dissected. Every tone weighed for hidden meaning. Meetings that once overflowed with false smiles now end in clenched jaws and eyes darting toward exits. You see them rewriting history in real time, recalling old slights, imagined betrayals, half-forgotten rumors. It's beautiful. In its twisted way, the way truth doesn't have to shout. It waits, patient, until the right ears hear it. And when it does, it eats loyalty alive. They're not united anymore, they're calculating, watching, waiting to strike first. And you gave them nothing but silence. And silence is the loudest weapon of all. Now their laughter sounds wrong, too sharp, too short, cutting off before it feels real. The warmth they used to fake for one another has curdled into an uneasy chill. Every shared glance is a question. Are you still with me, or are you already gone? You watch them like a painter studies shadows, seeing the shapes before they form. Old friends now speak in rehearsed phrases, careful not to reveal too much, but the paranoia bleeds through every syllable. The fear isn't that you exposed them, it's that you didn't have to. One misplaced word from you, and their fortress of lies began to crumble under its own weight. They aren't sure if you're dangerous or if you're holding the detonator and smiling. Either way, They can't stop imagining the explosion. They meet in secret now, but the air in those rooms is thick with distrust. Chairs scrape louder. Footsteps linger too long in doorways. Every cough feels like a signal. They try to speak in codes, but each suspects the others have traded their ciphers to you. And you sit in the dark, letting them believe you know more than you do. Because fear makes people fill in the blanks with nightmares far worse than the truth. They imagine you whispering to their enemies, planting seeds in places they can't reach. The beauty is you haven't moved a finger. Their own suspicion is the wildfire, and you're the quiet wind fanning it into an inferno. They'll burn everything they built just to make sure you're not hiding in the shadows. They start rewriting their history, each claiming they were never truly part of the pact. Old allies turn into witnesses for imaginary deeds, dragging each other's names through the mud like it's a race to see who can betray faster. You can almost hear their foundations cracking, centuries of loyalty collapsing into dust in days. They think they're purging traitors, but they're gutting their own ranks. And the best part? None of them realize you've given them nothing solid, just a single casual sentence that planted itself in their minds like a parasite. Now, even in silence, you're the loudest voice in the room, and when they finally see the ruin, they'll blame each other. Not the shadow that smiled and walked away. Suspicion is no longer a whisper, it's a scream, echoing through their halls. Eyes that once stood shoulder to shoulder, now pierce like daggers, searching for the next neck to cut. Leaders call secret meetings, but those meetings birth more secrets, more fractures, more venom. They begin purging their own, cutting off hands they once trusted to feed them. And you stay unseen, letting the poison you planted drip slow and steady, knowing every drop turns friend into enemy. They'll call it fate, or bad luck, or divine judgment. But deep down, some part of them will remember the exact moment you spoke, the exact tone, the way the air shifted, and they'll wonder were you warning them, or marking the start of their end. The tension now has teeth. Every handshake feels like a threat. Every smile hides a blade. They start rewriting their own history, each faction claiming they were the true heart of the alliance. The others just parasites. Old grudges crawl out of graves, dressed in new accusations. Documents go missing. Funds mysteriously vanish. Trusted messengers suddenly defect. And through it all, your name lingers, like a ghost in the corner never present, yet always part of the conversation. The brilliance of it? You didn't force a single hand. You just let them hear one sentence, one truth, so corrosive it ate through the steel holding them together. Now, they're dismantling their empire brick by brick, and you're already thinking about what to build on the rubble. By now, the whispers have grown fangs. Every corner of their halls is soaked in suspicion. Leaders pace in private rooms, scribbling names onto lists they'll burn later. But the smoke still clings to their hands. They question loyalty over morning coffee, test each other with loaded compliments, and stare too long at locked doors. One laughs too loud at a joke, and 3 others take it as mockery. A shared enemy once made them brothers. Now, even the air between them feels poisoned. You're not even there yet. You've become the silent architect of their paranoia. You didn't give them a lie. You gifted them a mirror, and the reflection was uglier than anything they could blame on you. That's the kind of move they never see coming until it's too late. You never needed to pull a single blade, just let one truth slip between them, like a ghost through a locked door. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was surgical. And now they're doing the carving themselves. Old debts get dragged into daylight. Forgotten grudges suddenly feel fresh. Every handshake hides a fist. Every smile a threat. They replay your words in their heads over and over, searching for the hidden meaning you didn't even have to plant. That's the magic. They'll find it anyway. They're tearing at threads you didn't weave, dismantling the house they swore was unshakable. And while they're busy pulling the nails out from their own foundation, you're already 3 streets away, listening to the sound of walls collapsing without lifting a single finger. It's almost poetic, isn't it? They called themselves unbreakable, a brotherhood, carved from stone, yet all it took was your whisper to turn them into rubble. They don't even realize you're not the storm, you're the stillness before it. And in that stillness, every doubt becomes louder, every suspicion sharper. Leaders turn on lieutenants, allies accuse allies. The chain they wore so proudly is now wrapped around their own throats, each one tugging tighter without knowing who's really holding the end. You're not watching chaos, you're composing it. Every glance you give is a note, every pause a rest, until their trust collapses into a symphony of betrayal. And when the final note plays, they won't curse you, they'll curse each other. Now they scramble in the dark, chasing ghosts that don't exist. You've fed them a shadow, and they've convinced themselves it's a monster. Their meetings, once filled with loud voices and clinking glasses, are now silent chambers of darting eyes and clenched fists. Every promise they ever made to each other sounds hollow in their own heads. And the best part? You don't have to lift a single finger. They are dismantling themselves brick by brick, stone by stone, thinking they're defending their walls, when in reality, they're tearing them down. You've turned their fortress into a coffin, and they're the ones sealing it shut from the inside. When it's over, no one will remember who started it, only who survived. Their paranoia has no off switch now. Every face across the table feels like an enemy's mask. Old friends look at each other and see daggers in their eyes. They replay your words in their minds, trying to decode a truth that doesn't even exist, yet the more they think, the deeper they sink. The beauty is, you didn't give them the storm, they became it. Now every whisper sounds like a betrayal, every pause like a plot. They imagine the enemy is among them, but they can't agree on who wears the mask, and in that confusion, they're tearing apart their own walls, brick by brick, until nothing remains but rubble and the echo of your name. You didn't lift a blade, but you left them with pulse. The final blow comes without your hand in it, just the weight of their paranoia snapping the last thread. Old secrets resurface, debts unpaid now weaponized, and oaths once sworn in pulse reduced to ash. They turn on each other with the desperation of cornered beasts, convinced that survival means striking first. Every scream, every slammed door, every shattered bond is the sound of an empire eating itself alive. And somewhere in the distance, you walk away, not with a smirk, not with a laugh, but with the quiet certainty that this was always the ending. You were never their enemy. You were their mirror, and they could not survive the reflection.